RingGangRadio.com. Take over. Last mission. Final boss mode. What it do?
I think we talked more enough about that particular fight, but yes, now on to the actual event itself, and then we'll talk. Let's start off with the music. Now,
boy.
Yeah, most of us are not fans of pop.
I had too much. I had more than French Montana than I could ever want to hear.
Yeah, that's my biggest complaint, really. Like, I could have did without French Montana.
Unless they're like leading the boxers to the ring, like they're rapping or doing whatever to the ring, I don't really care for musical performances during the fight. I don't, because the times that it's happened, most of the time happened, they've been not good.
The setup and the stages and shit was nice on this though, but I'm not a YG fan. To me, I think you gotta have artists that have the right type of music. I need hype shit. Like when Snoop Dogg did Down for My Niggas, that's the type of music you supposed to hear before a fight.
Yeah, and I like Wiz, but Wiz, he plays Black and Yellow.
He don't make the type of music on the regular where he's gonna do some hype shit like that. Like,
right. And the rest of the other niggas, forget it.
Yeah, French Montana, good lord, no. Like,
yeah.
Well, y'all couldn't bring out the damn Super Friends with him, like.
Yeah, and I was surprised they let that N-word fly freely in that shit. I was like, man, you're not gonna.
No, you had to, bro. The show loses. Like, if you start editing a show like that, it's like you're already killing it.
The thing about these other things, like you were saying, like think about how those random times they put the weird ads in between. With Mario Lopez, I like Mario Lopez. He's a good presenter, all the other stuff. But the way you could tell he's just being forced to say like, "Hey, see this ad, my G." He's like, "All right, download Triller, please download."
And Loki, he was blowing up people's spots too, because them niggas was getting high in that booth.
Yeah.
Them niggas was getting.
It was funny, and Morello was the best one to call him out. Morello was actually the replacement to Bernstein.
Morrow. You mean? I was like, who the hell's Morello? I was like, Morrow.
Yeah, Morrow.
No. Oh, Morrow was his name. But he plays Bernstein.
Yeah.
No, because I was talking to somebody who knows him, so I was like, he pronounced his name differently. But anyway, but he replaced Bernstein. And so the biggest thing what made it funny was like, because you could tell he was just happy to be there because he just kept making references and it killed me every single time.
yeah. Like I'll say the one thing about the commentary is, like, at first we have Sugar Ray, and Sugar Ray's commentary on PBC and DAZN have been less than stellar. So you're thinking like, oh god, he's gonna do the same thing again.
For some reason, they got it to work.
They got it to work. It was like
I thought he was like a nice addition to it. Like I'm like, I'm feeling Sugar Ray right now. Like,
the thing is, that entire card, all your complaints about Sugar Ray showed up in front of me when I was watching it. I was like, Jesus.
Yeah, but for some reason though, I guess it's the people who had around. Like, he had the style bender. He had. There was also Mario Lopez.
Style Bender, at the very least, he admitted, this is my first time going at it.
Well, I honestly found Sugar Ray tolerable last night compared to some of the other earlier years ago commentary he's done. He was actually kind of tolerable.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I think there's one extra thing though that makes it is they put him towards the end for commentary. So we had time to actually, if he want to say something, if he did, he didn't. But you guys are actually right too. He had his own mistakes that he fixed.
Yeah, like I'd say, I think it's they did the style bender. They had, Morrow, I think, and then they had Snoop Dogg. So for some reason that they had chemistry, it worked, and so I think they kind of masked each other's weaknesses.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, because like Style Bender though, like he at least he showed me he knew in boxing, but I think sometimes he was going on and on about some shit, and then instead of like not knowing how to cut himself off. So it's just like, oh, and then I think, and that's when I think Morrow would jump in and try to get everything back on track. So the commentary was just working all night long.
I think what made it better for Sugar Ray last night is because, I mean, one of the complaints that I had with Sugar Ray on commentary is that it's painfully obvious that he doesn't actually follow the sport anymore. Like, he doesn't really keep up like he used to, and it shows. So when he would be talking about, new fighters, it would just seem so out of place because you can tell he's not really keeping up with it. But in a situation like last night, where he's really the voice of anything, because, saying Salvin, this was his first time with actual boxing. So now you have a guy, a legend that, you can go to like when it comes to actual boxing. The actual boxing, Sugar Ray can talk about in his sleep till he dies. That's not an issue. He can talk, and it shows more because now you have guys that he's the only one that has boxing experience like that knows the ins and outs of the actual boxing. So take him away from once you take out the current the currency of the new boxing and just talk about boxing in general, like
it allowed him to focus on the actual fight itself.
Yes, then he's cool because he has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to actual fighting,
and everybody else could just do the current event shit, you said, it blended like perfectly, like,
and he's way more
just the atmosphere.
And he's way more he's more authentic and more charismatic than fucking Lennox. Like you put Lennox in that same situation, I would just be bored to death. But Sugar Ray makes it work.
Well, Sugar Ray could speak being articulate. Like, look, if you're trying to be an A-side media darling superstar, being articulate.
Yeah, and Lennox is
Just to add on top for what people saying.
Hold on. I mean, like, this nigga was talking.
My bad.
Pat, finish what I was about to say.
No, I kind of forgot what I was saying.
You said Lennox was like.
Oh yeah. Lennox is not articulate at all. Like, I mean, dude, like, he was an intelligent guy in the ring, but it didn't translate over to the booth. Like, he brings very little insight, and and he's not really quick to the draw to like feed off someone's like energy or like jokes or anything like that. He's just like and he mispronounces a word. Sugar Ray's not like, although Sugar Ray's getting older though. Sometimes takes him a while to get to the point, but when he does get to the point. So and like I said, they had others like help him along. So I mean, so I think Sugar Ray, I think they finally found a niche for him. Like keep him on Triller, keep him there. And eventually I'm pretty sure he'll learn, hopefully that he will catch up with more of the current state of boxing. And he'll get sharper again on that aspect.
Now, what was you gonna say, PJ?
Well, I'll start off with what Pat was saying, because he's 100% right, because it applies to Sugar Ray Leonard too, because like some of those ones they go like, I remember this again back in the day.
Lennox would have stammered over the names. He would have mispronounced some words.
Yeah, it's like literally like a personality kind of thing. Because the biggest thing is like for Sugar Ray, he was about the fight. He always wants to pay attention to the fight. That's why he's not the best for some commentary situations, because he's caught up too much in the fight that he's not going to be able to respond as quickly as you want to. But when he's around somebody who wants to ask him like, hey, I saw this in the fight to do this, Adesanya was actually one of the best combinations for him.
Yeah.
It was like a younger guy who not even a kid to respect, a young guy who wants to be like, hey, you've been around. I saw this. What's your answer? And those guys gonna be like, hey, I know about this because, way back in the day, I don't know why I'm sounding like Mickey, but otherwise, back in the day, like, the kind of things like those kind of people where they kind of have that kind of knowledge. They need something that makes them remind them like, hey, do I remember this?
Right.
And in those cases, it is good for them, for those older people, because they realize like, hey, you're not irrelevant, so you don't feel as bitter anymore. So you gotta be like, hey, I remember this. Somebody knows about this about me. It's just getting like
basically like Sugar Ray Leonard has that charismatic like he's relatable. Like he's gonna resonate with a star type of event, like the atmosphere, everything. Like Leonard.
Yeah, my especially was gonna say
he's not gonna light up a room. Like
no, he's not. As much as I want him to, he's not going to. It really upsets me.
Yeah, he'll light you up with a jab, but personality won't light you up.
He lights up the candle with that jab.
But remember, this is the thing. They had good fights to work with, because the free fight was damn near a fight of the year, though.
Yeah.
You mean between those two kids?
Yep, and I gotta do a shout out too, because two of the fighters on the undercard, came from my boy Mike's promotional outlet, because he's the matchmaker for CES Boxing, for Irvin Gonzalez, who was one half of the first fight on there, against Edward Vasquez, and that fight was spectacular.
That was fight of the year to me.
Yeah, 1,000 punches thrown in 8 rounds.
Let's not forget the Zepeda brand check.
Yeah, no, it's not fight of the
year.
Fair. Fight of the year candidate. It's like nothing.
Candidate.
But here's the thing: it was two kids who knew what stage they were on. They want to be like, we want to perform.
Yeah. And I was talking to my boy Mike about it. I was like, Mike, you picked the right fighters to be on this shit, and it's like, and the funny thing is too is Twitter was responding to this particular fight, like they were fucking with this fight. Like before, usually sometimes these opening fights, sometimes people are like, oh, they may be good and people will not pay attention, but people were paying attention to this shit.
I think it was just the energy of the whole event. Like you had a lot of casuals watching that shit from the very beginning, which you don't see a lot of times for big pay-per-view fights.
Somebody actually called it out in an LE Psychback video. One guy said he didn't want to say it. He wasn't too sure how to think about it, but he said himself as a boxer didn't know how to feel about it himself, because he in his head he's like, I don't like cards with YouTube boxers in it. He feels that YouTube boxers should have their own card so they can make their own thing. But he said in his own perspective, because he had a friend never followed boxing, but so the YouTube card, and him and not him, but his friend and a bunch of other friends of that saw other boxers and they flipped over from the YouTube guy to boxing. So he says, I don't know what to think anymore. So he says I don't like YouTube boxers being in the same card of a major card, but at the same time, he does like the fact that some people who follow YouTube shit do end up becoming boxing fans out of it.
Yeah, but that only happens with the right fights, and that opening fight was a right fight. It was because, to me, it set the tone for the night, for at least in terms of the fights on the undercard.
I would say more specifically, it set the tone for the old niggas who fought.
Exactly, because you have to give them, you have to get people to watch. I mean, you had the YouTuber and Nate Robinson fight, and then you had the other fight, where you might have a new lightweight star in Jermaine Ortiz.
The cards now with the YouTube fights, the last two recent ones were set up better than the original ones with Logan and KSI.
Yeah,
because they had no fucking clue what they were doing.
Nah, it's not that. They didn't have any good fights. They didn't have any boxing fights.
That's true. That is 100% true.
Honestly, people just need to get over the whole YouTube shit and you could bring both of them together. Like the whole Tyson Jones card shows that you could put together an event and have a good format and run that shit, and everybody will be entertained from casuals to hardcores.
If I was thinking it in that sense that you're saying, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Did I cut you off?
Yes, you did. Yeah, I'd say that Jermaine Ortiz Sagawa fight was it kept the energy because people were like, oh shit, Ortiz is really nice, and then Ortiz scored a nice little KO too, a nice body shot, uppercut season, so
that was a competitive fight because both of those dudes were going at it.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking of is because you're saying make the competitive fights. considering regardless of what background it is. In kickboxing, they do those kind of things, but it depends on like what kind of card you're looking for. So there's some cards where they'll be like, it's a tournament, so we'll go for a while, but it's the same 4 or 5 guys going at it to find out who's the winner. Then there's other situations to be like, hey, we have this many people in this division, they're all good. Let's make them do a one-day tournament and see who's the ones. That's kickboxing. I don't know how it would translate to boxing.
Nah, this format is perfect. Just leave it all boxing. Just make sure you got competitive matchups, something significant, and you have the right type of YouTube fight.
Right.
Okay. My next question is this.
And this is the thing. If everybody, the reason why the card worked so well because everybody did their own promoting. When was the last time you had a fight card like this and everybody who's on the card is making their own videos, clips, interviews, footage, training? You had Jake Paul doing that shit, Nate Robinson, Roy Jones, Tyson,
Badu Jack.
Everybody was promoting this fucking card.
That's true.
And it was done on a grassroots level all the way up to fucking the big ass celebrities. And it was priced at $50. Like, they knew they was like, look, we ain't trying to rob y'all niggas. Like, we knew this ain't no boxing card, but fuck, we'll hook y'all up, you know.
Yeah, you got that.
It's gonna be entertaining.
Yeah.
Like, and you had people throwing parties for this shit.
Absolutely. Yep. Like live, like virtual party. That's what I said on my Facebook, bro.
They brought fucking boxing back. Like I don't know how anybody. A lot of boxers are hating this whole YouTube shit, but like it's here to stay, bro. It just is too much fucking fuckery comes from it. Like, all I'm saying is, like, people just got to take the training more serious, cause now you got people. Like, I seen Tarver want to challenge Jake Paul, but it's like, come on, bruh. Like, you can't replace.
And you got that, and
that ain't fair.
And I know I saw some of the women fighters like they're all feeling type of way because I mean, we all know like there's a pay inequality about women getting paid to fight. So like every one of them was like, I should get paid. I should go fight like a female celebrity too, or some shit like that. So yeah, like, a lot of boxers are feeling some type of way about.
Look, man, they gotta fucking promote themselves, man, bruh. Like, enough of this nice shit. You cannot women can't keep yelling at dudes to support them when we're already supporting them. They have to get other fucking women to watch women's boxing, or women's boxing, basketball, volleyball, any other fucking women's sport. That's just what it is. Dudes are already supporting it. Like, I know Ring Gang, we make probably the most videos about women's boxing than anybody do.
Mm-hmm.
But we can't do it all ourselves. Like, women's boxing, they gotta promote harder.
Exactly. They
gotta make the fights people want to see. They gotta make the little beefs and comments and all the slick talking. They gotta make it amount to something.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
That's all it is. Like, get the buzz going. Then that's what I was saying with this whole card. Everybody promoted their ass off with this shit.
Right, and I think the thing like broke like a whole bunch of pre-pay-per-view buys records too. So we did this may actually be the highest selling boxing pay-per-view of the year. Which I mean, obviously when you have PBC, I think PBC is the one that's actually done boxing pay-per-views this year.
The one that Canelo ain't want to fight on the same day. Think about it. And honest to God, if Canelo was fighting somebody on the same day as this happened, I probably would have watched this event over a Canelo fight.
Yeah, honestly, that's the thing too, and this is what we're talking about in terms of draws too. Like, if this card succeeds and it like exceeds in terms of buys, like that's another conversation between current fighters today and their marketability and how they approach the sport, and then fighters of yesteryear, like the Hall of Famers. Like, and I said it before, it shouldn't be like the current,
because everybody's more the legends are more accessible than all these new niggas, man.
and you're absolutely right. And that's where I think that's where there's a disconnect in boxing today. Because, like I said, a card like this shouldn't have not succeeded, but it did. I wasn't really for this card, and I watched it and I enjoyed the fuck out of it. Like I'm a hardcore fan and I enjoyed it, and I wasn't expected to. So, and like I said, if this succeeds, in which it will, like, a conversation has to be had with, with the current boxing stars today, is like, you guys have to go harder, and this and Triller, this is like their first like foray into this shit. And, like, I got tagged in a tweet saying that Triller was a rich man's DAZN. I was like, oh shit, like.
Now, according to what Mr. whatever his face was telling me the entire time, he's just like, oh, this is the adult version of TikTok. I'm like, I didn't even know what it is. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Oh yeah, because he did send shots to TikTok. Like
Mario Lopez, yeah, that's his name. There you go.
The whole card had that vibe, like it was just coming to take over. Like it was like, look, man, I know y'all used to some pay-per-views from back in the day and this year, but look, we doing some different shit. Like we making an event, like we bringing back pay-per-views the right way, like the parties, and you spend the whole day watching boxing, like
and discussing boxing. Like honestly, like. What, like, I mean, like, with the exception of maybe the actual fight of the year candidate and then, Wilder getting knocked out, like, what fight actually has this type of, like, after fight buzz? Like, people are still talking about this, like, I think
Lomachenko Lopez had it.
Yeah, it does, but I mean, you're right, it did, but not to this level.
Because I mean, you had the casuals. Like, I mean, you had some casuals, but not like this.
Yeah, nah. The casuals.
I'm just saying this. It was another big fight that had that after buzz.
Right.
Draw attention kind of level.
Yeah, but on Facebook, my Facebook, like everyone was like, it seemed like everyone was watching this shit. Like everyone was commenting on this shit. Like, I mean, obviously, because Facebook is like my biggest social media.
The only thing that had the after buzz like this recently was the Gucci Jeezy battle. Let's be honest.
Oh my fucking god,
dude! Like my social media, like all that shit was buzzing. Like I don't what, because y'all niggas ain't watched the battle. That's probably why.
Yeah,
I watched
it.
Yeah, these niggas living under a rock. I watched it though.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to watch it.
I'll get that rock out of my head. Otherwise, yeah, Pete, let me know later. What did I miss?
Like, but all I'm saying is like this shit had a buzz, like, and you need more cards like this, because every time you have a card like this, Badu Jack gets a career mode fight, and he finally gets a win where he doesn't have to go life and death. And
he went against
a decision.
Actually, Rocky. That's what he did.
Like honestly, like I mean, what Badu Jack did in the fight was flat out assault. Like that, he beat this man senseless. And that dude did not go down. Like, yeah,
I don't know how he didn't go down. His neck was like vibrating so much.
And LB said the same thing. Army strong. Yeah, if you came from the army, like, yo, some people are not gonna go down because they get like flashbacks of people who they went through in boot camp. They are not going down.
Like, dude was talking about he was having an episode in this corner, like in the last couple of rounds, like. I was like, shouldn't they really stop the fight?
Yeah, where like you kept seeing his head snap around like that. So Adesanya explained because people asked him about like, why do you keep doing this? It's an actual PTSD thing.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, that's not healthy.
No, I don't think it's healthy at all. Like, stop it.
Like the fight should have been.
Badu Jack beat the demons out of him, bro.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, that fight should have been stopped by like the 5th round or some shit like that. Like
yeah, I don't know how that, but this is the thing. It was one of those nights. The energy is just, you couldn't stop anything. Everything was just going to happen. Remember
the other thing
when Nate Robinson was trying to quit, and it's like the energy just wouldn't allow it.
Mm-hmm.
Badu Jack had to knock this guy out cold for this fight to stop.
Yeah.
This nigga was too army strong.
I told Jay the same thing. What is Badu Jack? A 50-50 fighter. You do not know what version of him's coming up.
Yeah, but at least with this guy, like we didn't. I mean, obviously this guy. I mean, I wouldn't think if Badu Jack looked terrible at this against this guy, I would say that he was finished. Dude needed.
Even though he couldn't finish him off, at least in my terms of learning, I gotta see so many tons of ways to land body shots, so I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean, he 12-0 dude, and it was brutal to watch.
If you love learning certain aspects of boxing, you get to see
that was
it,
worth
and it's
that was
great.
worth the knockout.
I mean, it should have been a knockout.
I knew you was gonna say that.
Like,
it's funny how they was both back to back.
Like he 12-0 dude in an 8-round fight. That's how bad that beating was.
I know, it was so dumb. But the thing is, like, because people said, like, he came from a military background. You cannot make a military guy go down. They're not going to go down.
Nah. You beat him enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, every military guy ain't fucking Guile or somebody.
No, but I mean, like,
soldier.
that, I'm saying that guy was just stubborn enough. He's just that stubborn.
Yeah, he was too stubborn.
Have I met military guys who fall apart? Yes. But have I met other military guys who just
that man was Bill Goldberg in Universal Soldier.
Yeah.
Bald head and everything.
Yo, shout out to all of being an old head.
And then people were calling him the HGH Kelly Pavlik. That shit had me so on. Like,
well, good night for you.
You know, like there was mad jokes. Like you can tell a good card. Like there was mad jokes being flown around about all these certain fighters and shit like that. Like this shit had me cracking up and dying. You know, just reading some of the shit that nigga was saying.
How good the card was. They had everybody like into it, cracking jokes, talking about it. Cause look, you can't crack jokes unless you watching it, right? You pay attention. So it had everybody engaged.
Yeah, no, it was great too. And then, you know, outside that, like the whole setup too, like I wasn't a real fan of the camera angles that they were using because it reminded me of the old WCW Nitro game that I had for my PC. You know, where
on the contrary, I liked it. On the contrary, I actually liked it.
I love the camera angles. It gave it this cinematic feel, bro. Like I was telling this nigga that he's like he texted me that Nitro bullshit, but I was like, bro, that camera angles, this shit. Bro, honestly, they made PBC and ESPN and all these places look bad.
Nah, the camera angles and the lightings were, I gave that a 2 thumbs up.
A good camera angle is literally a kill shot.
Honestly, it's the best setup since HBO.
Yeah, like the whole stage setup and shit, like the way it was simple, it wasn't like too busy and shit like that. It was basic. It allowed you to actually focus on the fucking action in the ring.
The pitch black background.
It forces you to look at the ring. That's what they did.
It's like it puts you right there.
Considering what?
That's the reason why it irritated me that the ring was small.
But considering, you know, what we're going through, it made sense to have the presentation like that. It wouldn't have made any sense to have it like that, you know, in any other circumstances. But under these circumstances, that fits the best. That is the best fit.
Honestly, I could see.
Let me hop in real quick.
I can see it like that. I can see it like that all the time. I almost want to see the rest of the boxing fights this year on that arena, that setup.
So yeah, Pete, I'm just gonna bounce off him. I'm going with him what he says. Like, I personally, the same way he says, like, it should feel one-on-one no matter what, because it's not about the crowd. It's not about anything that's going wrong with it. Eventually, it boils down to you against the other guy. So, in my head, I think about this like, yeah, fanfare exists and stuff like that. I'm not going to knock it away and say it goes away. It's always going to be there. But I'm saying, like, in the end, in terms of a fight, in terms of a one-on-one fight, how do you go up against the other guy? That's how I look at it. So to me, I always look at it in the sense of if it boils down to that most basic sense of one guy versus the other, I'm always going to lean to whatever that forces that. If it means no crowds, I'm done with it. It means nothing else. I want.
Dude, bro, like you almost lost me. I'm like, what the fuck is this nigga talking about?
I just want
I'm gonna lie,
one-on-one
my bad.
fight. That's it. One-on-one. That's it.
Like I mean, the crowd fight. Like, the crowds need to be there, but if they're not there, then it's just the
It
setup.
needs to look like this. Like, if no crowds, it needs to have this set up. Like, I don't like the fake pictures and all that bullshit. The fake crowd and all that bullshit.
It's better than in football right now, where they got the fake props on all the seats where fans are supposed to be, and I see that, I'm like, that is so corny.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
I mean, fake sport, fake props.
Do you see in the for the previous card they're trying to do it now?
For the what card?
Yesterday's card, they're trying to do that. Adesanya even called out. It's like, are you trying to make a fake crowd right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that because of the noise. See, I don't mind the sound effects, but the look, man.
Yeah, no, I'd
The
rather
look gotta be on point.
I'd rather just have it be black like it was before, and just focus on two niggas actually just scrapping in the ring.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid. That's why that's what it should be.
Oh, that's why everything worked, and with the low ceiling and the lights above it, it just made it look dope. It was like creative, like, oh, that shit just hit, man. Like, and it's set up for the main event where, you know, you was already kind of satisfied and entertained. So
Yep.
the main event could have just happened any old type of way, really, and it was alright.
Yeah, and the energy was there. The energy was because the energy was like, who's gonna land first?
Go ahead. It was my mistake.
No, go ahead. I finished.
Oh no, I'm just saying like, oh, you know, people gonna show up. You know, those friends who don't know about much fight, but they knew who Mike Tyson was, and like, yo, I want to see that fight. It's that kind of thing that just annoys me. I just didn't want to go beyond that.
I mean, that's always gonna be like that. Everyone's like, "What's Mike gonna look like? What's Roy gonna look like in this fight?" You know, and then like
50-year-old niggas.
Yeah, and another thing too is I thought they were gonna wear headgear at least, and I was like, "Where the fuck is the headgear for this shit?"
What? Oh God, no headgear, please.
I thought it was good. I thought they were supposed, because you know the way they were put.
I don't know what's wrong. I didn't mind headgear because I think they would have really tried to hit each other more.
That's what I thought too. Because I assumed it was gonna be headgear because he said all the other things. Because I know at the start of
You
the
had
fight,
12-ounce gloves, like
yeah, Jay told me about it. He's just like, yo, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about because I'm not even home yet.
Yeah, them 12-ounce gloves. I mean, the 12-ounce gloves. I mean, granted, I think both of them could probably hit hard enough where 12-ounce gloves would just only cushion so much.
To be fair, they could have worn 30-ounce gloves. They could still punch through.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, for them niggas, they could have had headgear and 16-ounce gloves and wailed away. Like,
You know, but I think that would Roy still probably would have been able to take that too. And almost just already just like, you know, I mean, Roy. I mean, they both kind of gasped, but Roy looked like he was laboring in that.
Roy gas from the first round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, like, I mean, you were the most, you stopped fighting like 3 years ago. Like, granted, he was fighting at 212 pounds, which is probably his heaviest weight ever in the ring. You know, but damn, okay, like,
But this is the guy we've been seeing train on Instagram and go fishing and be all over the world all for years,
yeah,
being active, and then it's like he can't finish one round without.
and it was a 2-minute round.
Yes, oh my goodness.
Mike though,
The other thing too was I want to say is like, yo, body shots hurt, my guy.
well, they do, yeah, and Mike,
They do, but come on.
yeah, when Mike landed some, you know, Roy was like, you know, he made an executive decision, like, you know, I gotta be careful, I gotta clinching, you know, I can't let this nigga hit me like that.
He said in the race,
Talking and clinching.
You know what I'm saying, though. But I mean, Mike at least. Mike. He looked good for, you know, being away for 15 years and then, you know, going up to 400 pounds and losing all that weight. You know, I mean, he didn't look vintage, but you saw some of the shit that he saw, some of the skills that he actually had in his prime, like his
The
football.
one thing I would say for Mike, specifically in the entire fight, is specifically for some people who if they ever trained before, they ever trained once. There's certain things when it's drilled into your head, it's not going to hold you. So that was the key thing for my training.
The muscle memory.
Yeah, the muscle memory.
So that means when you see something remotely the same, you're going to react the same way. That's why there were moments where during the fight where Roy tried to do the jab, Mike just went through it, and Roy was just like, "Nah, I'm going to hold you," in the terrible way that he normally does. It really irritated me with the way he was holding.
Yeah, it was too much. I'm glad when I think around the 5th round, he kind of chilled with it and tried to like do some type of offense. Because he was really spamming them clinches earlier, like
Yeah,
I'm just spamming the grabs.
yeah, no, like because I mean, Mike still looked like he could actually still do some shit. So it was just like, you know, I'm not gonna get. And Mike was holding back. Like Mike, after some time, like you could tell that Mike could have stepped on the pedal some more. And if
I think Mike realized dude was scared. Or
Also, I'm gonna like point out one thing that was kind of painfully obvious the entire card. How small that ring was. It was very small.
Oh yeah, PJ kept complaining about that damn ring all night.
I say that somebody like, even though I like to push forward on somebody, it's a small ring.
You running ass niggas thought that ring was too small.
You shut the fuck up.
That ring was perfect. What are you talking about?
Wait till a freight truck comes your way. You're gonna be like, "Yo, that ring's too small for you."
3 foot rule. 3 foot rule.
I mean, it was true. It was obvious that Mike was holding back a bit, but it was like, it's also weird because Mike has also admitted in the past, he said he doesn't know how to hold his punches, which makes sense why Oliver McCall was the sparring partner all those years. But still, like, it was just he's the only one that can say.
The way I look at this is this.
Let me get a nigga crazier than you to take my punches.
There are two main winners of the fight: the two fighters and the people who had like nostalgia for the fight. That's it. Those are the only two big winners. You do not want to look anywhere beyond that.
It was a better fight than Jacobs Rosado.
Yeah.
And both still move faster than Joe Joyce.
Facts.
Am I lying?
No, you're
I'm not.
I mean, that's not saying much. Rosado versus Jacobs is a low bar. It's so low that I could put on Fight Night 4 right now and play as Erislandy Lara versus literally anyone else, and it would be a better fight than Jacobs Rosado.
I'm gonna say you didn't say Fight Night Champion. I'm very upset.
I don't care.
I know you didn't.
We expected too much from Jacob Rosado.
Yeah, you know, but I mean, but basically, like I said, it was a nice little, it was a nice little trip down memory lane.
Yeah,
You know,
Tyson Jones was just bringing the family together. I was like bringing boxing back.
right?
It
And there
was
was still conversation after that. Like there was a lot of conversation out there. With, you know, some was good, some were bad, some were in between, but they were talking about it.
Yeah.
biggest concern is the one thing I said multiple times. Those people like, Joe, if Mike Tyson fought XYZ boxer still acts, I'm like, no, shut up. Sit down.
Although I was hoping for more good memes for the for Tyson and Roy, but I guess all the good memes were focused on Nate Robinson.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We got no good memes. The only good meme that I got a good laugh out of with Tyson and Roy was at the end where Roy was like, you could obviously tell he was so gassed and shit. Like just to look in his face, he was so exhausted. Somebody like put a picture and it said, when she wants round 2 and the gas station pill.
I saw that one. The other one that got me, because like people talk about it in between the fight, is just like, yo, how old these guys again? Because they heard Roy like, and people wondering like, yo, why is Roy talking like this? I'm like, have you ever been in front of Mike Tyson before? I'm like, you will feel a certain different way. And I was talking with one other person, and they said the post-fight interview, they said Roy was holding one part of his like chest, like something might have happened to his rib. I'm like, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, he probably got tagged a little bit too hard there. It's probably bruised, if not, if not broken.
I think Tyson at 80 years old could break your ribs. Like,
Yeah. Tyson chair could break your rib.
I did like how they put both memes together, and then you had Roy and Tyson fighting, and they stepping over Nate Robinson's body. Like, I don't know if y'all seen that one.
No,
like,
I saw that one.
Yeah, I seen that.
Everything I hear about Nate Robinson, I just hear Snoop Dogg's who? Because that's legitimately before the fight happened. Because people ask me about like, what do you think about the fight? And I don't follow most of the sports, so people ask me like, what do you think about Nate Robinson? I'm like, who's who? So they're like, oh, this guy who did all these sports. So they asked me like, what do you think is gonna happen with Jake Paul? I was like, they will probably beat him because this guy has no clue what's going on. And like, what do you mean? He's been all these other sports. I'm like, have you ever seen boxing? And one of them, he refused to take technology. So he's just like, oh, why are you watching the fight? And I was like, I refuse to watch pre-show fights. He said, oh, I thought you watched fights. I'm like, pre-show. And then after the first round, he says, I understand exactly what you did.
Yeah, I mean, it had something for everybody, though. I mean, that was...
So at the end of the day, like, y'all closing thoughts on the card, like, it's successful, right?
Very, very successful. I think
It's successful in specific manners, yes.
I mean, it's successful pretty much at every benchmark you could probably think of. I mean, we'll know for sure about the buys.
Absolutely. It's no complaints here. Hit every benchmark. It got every demographic. So when it gets every demographic, it's a win-win. It's like that CD. It's like that CD you buy that appeals to hardcore hip hop fans as well as casuals and the females and the old ladies. Like,
hold on, wait. Is this the
when did that
5 Night Classic Jadakiss was supposed to make?
You open a hole that's gonna get jokes nonstop for.
Yeah. Rome said, "What up, man? He coming back for the retro reviews soon. So shout out to my nigga Rome. So, but yeah, the pay per view. I agree with everybody else. It was a success. I wouldn't mind seeing the Legends League go on. Just keep the same format, different artists, different YouTubers, different prospect boxers, different veteran boxers. Or you could keep Badu Jack in there. Hey, I don't care. Yeah, he brings it in these types of fights. Fuck it.
He shows up.
I mean, if you want to get
except that he shows up.
Or give somebody else an opportunity to get the Badu Jack slot.
Well, someone needs to beat him. There you go.
Bro, we're bringing a Marine this time.
I was going to say, either bring a Marine or someone who's Special Forces.
Yeah, bring a fucking Ranger.
Word.
Green Beret this time.
A Ranger would be perfect because that's Army still.
Come on, Pops always used to be like, man, them Rangers, man, them niggas badass back in the day, man. Like, so I'm like, oh, okay.
I know, because I'm like, I got friends who fall in that category and stuff. I get so confused. They're like, it's okay. That's all they say. It's like, it's
I
not
never mad about no Rangers, bro. So enough for that.